everyone today. Welcome to another edition of our weekly real estate backstory, where we try and peel back and expose the soft underbelly of the real estate world here in the Atlanta market. My name is Alan Richard. I'm the managing broker at Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
My name is Ming Richardson, the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And my lovely bride at the same time. We're really glad that you joined us here today. We have a lot of really cool and interesting things to share with you. First up is our training calendar. So for this week, we have, of course, on every Tuesday, we have our accountability at 10. Also on Tuesday at 9:30, we have 2021 GAR contract dissection, and that's by Dana Sparks, where she's going to break down the entire 2021 GAR contracts.
It's a great contract to look at, and there are some mid-year changes. So please, if you have not taken 2021 GAR contract dissection, even if you had, please take a moment and review it because there are some changes
already.
Mid-year.
Yeah, we got some new ones on April 15th. They came out with some new mid-year changes. So it makes me wonder if we're going to have 3 changes this year, because we're only 4 months in and we already have our first GAR contract revision. Also, our very own Jake House from Silverton Mortgage here in the McDonough office. He is teaching Mortgage 101. That is virtual still. We are going to be starting live classes soon, but Mortgage 101 is going to be a virtual class. On Wednesday, Marcy is going to be teaching fast top dollar home sales with staging, and I will be your host to teach the ultimate listing system on Thursday morning at 9:30. So I hope that you guys can join us for that kind of thing. So in the news right now, you'll see. So let's kind of jump in, and we're gonna share kind of some things that we see kind of going on right now. So first of all, mortgage rates dipped this week below 3%. Now, I didn't really expect mortgage rates to drop below 3% again, but they sure did. But I wouldn't say they dropped very much. They're at 2.97%. Now, we weren't expecting the mortgage rates to drop any again, kind of thing. We really have been looking at them being much closer into the mid threes moving forward in the year, and that's still going to be the case. But one thing that happened this past week was that the European Central Bank, which is kind of like the Fed here in the U.S., but the European Central Bank this week announced it's going to continue to buy bonds. So they're buying the bonds in Europe in the same way that the Fed is buying bonds here in the U.S. Now, that indirectly helps support the U.S. bond market and help keep rates really low, which is why we saw another downturn. Please don't, this makes it a great opportunity for our buyers to lock in some great rates if we can find them some homes this week.
And last week actually was the best week to put your house on the market. And I'm sure, and even as, we don't go out and really solicit, but we do have some client from referrals. I can tell you there's a couple of houses that was trying to make an appointment this weekend, and guess what? The showing time's all booked up.
Yeah.
So
there is massive demand right now. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as well. But do understand that this is a temporary blip. We are going to see mortgage rates moving closer into the mid threes as we move forward. So, hey, if we can take advantage of it, please do. As it stands right now, mortgage purchase applications were up 6% for last week and over 57% up over last year. Refi applications jumped another 10% with the rates dropping again, but that's still about 25% lower than they were last year. So the Mortgage Bankers Association announced that the purchase originations, which is, home purchases, home loans, not refis, are on a pace to increase to 16%, a 16% increase over last year, which was already a record-setting year. It's going to be at 1.67 trillion in 2021. And so the lenders are looking for a very, very aggressive, positive year coming up on the next year kind of thing. At the same time, we also in the past week, or past month, 500,000 homeowners got current on their mortgages in March. Mortgage delinquencies dropped over 16%, almost 17% just in the last month. So we're continuing to see where delinquent homeowners, a lot of the forbearance programs are starting to wear out. Some of those have been extended, but we're seeing where more and more homeowners are wanting to go ahead and get current, largely because at some point they know that things are, they're going to have to get current on these things, and the majority of the folks in forbearance programs can. And the last thing you want to do is to go out and start looking for a home again right now in the middle of all this. So last week, jobless claims hit a new low.
Yeah, I love this pandemic low.
Well, I mean, we're going to see that continuing to wear down, hopefully. But yeah, we had continuing claims fell, new claims fell. I mean, so we're seeing that the unemployment rate is a good positive thing for us to see as well. Now, something you may see in the news right now is that existing home sales fell, and they've fallen for the last 2 months. But please don't think that the existing home sales fell because that's an indication of what's going on in the market. Existing home sales fell because of
lack of inventory. We all are having issue with that right now.
So overall transactions decreased about 3.5%, almost 4% from March, but that's not indicative of what we're really seeing going on out there right now. Home price appreciation is up about 17% over last year. Now, in a large part, it's because we're going against last year, which last year we were in complete shutdown. So of course, we're going to see a price increase. That is going to start leveling out as we start coming to where we were similar last year. So once we get into May and June, we won't see these double-digit price increases over prior year, which will help how that looks, kind of thing. But we need to be ready to answer our clients' questions. Right now, if you go into Google, and we have, and said, when is the housing market going to crash? Right now, that question has spiked by 2,450% in the past month. Okay, 2,450% in the last month. And so why is the market so hot? Is the market going to be ready? Is it about to bust? We need to be the person communicating to our clients. The fact that so many of our clients are having to Google this shows that they don't have a trusted real estate professional. If you're telling your clients not to be in the market right now, that things are going to crash, you're probably leading them astray. Right now, we have the largest millennial home buyer class ever. We have way more demand than we have supply. The builders are not building enough. And this is not, you're not looking at, hey, if you wait a month, it'll be better. It's not going to be better in a month. It's not going to be better in 6 months, kind of thing. This is going to be an ongoing issue that we've had for quite a while, actually.
Yeah, and as Alan was saying before, we have two periods of where the builder are not building inventory to meet the supply, the demand of the millennials. So this is kind of the aftermath of those supplies not being met. So we're just right in the spike.
Yeah. I mean, right now, one of the most requested terms on Google is how much over asking price should I offer on a home? That's up 350% in the last week alone. Not mentioned, it's like 4,000% over last year, kind of thing. So our consumers, our buyers, our sellers want to know what's going on. It saddens me that they're having to go to Google, and that just shows that we need to do a much better job of reaching out. This should be a topic for everyone doing a video on social media.
Unfortunately, a lot of people just say, just Google it. So that has been the term for a very long time for your average Americans. And so they're just looking for a second opinion as well, I think.
Well, but I just think this is a great opportunity for us.
Right, absolutely.
To be reaching out on social media and doing videos talking about
YouTube
YouTube, go Facebook Live. Talk about this. Our consumers are really, really interested in this stuff right now.
Well, they're educated and they want to know facts before they make their decision.
Yep. See, right now, competition for houses is really, really stiff. And one of the challenges that we see moving forward right now is that it's very easy to make your friends and your clients homeless. So how are we helping? Like we've had instances where our sellers, we sold their house so fast for the sellers that they weren't ready, kind of thing. And so what do we do? In a lot of cases, one thing that we're seeing is that we're building in and asking for leasebacks, and you can, and that's an okay strategy to use. But remember that for the majority of your loans, How many days do you have?
No more than 90 days, and then consider
60 days for most of them.
90 days will be considered mortgage fraud.
Yeah.
The owner occupant has to move in within 90 days.
But in most cases, but in some cases, it's 60 days. So make sure that we're talking about our lenders, how long we can allow for a leaseback period. We've seen some requesting for 6 months.
Now,
and that's a violation.
Now, if that's an investor purchase, then that's not a big deal. But any owner occupant, that can be an issue.
Yep. On those kind of things. Yeah, you will see that some of the iBuyers and things like that will allow that. But for the majority of the folks getting, either, conforming loans,
right.
Both on conventional as well as FHA, VA, they have to be in that house in sometime in that 60 and 90-day period, depending on the type of the loan. So make sure we're doing that. We have seen some.
But anyways, just make sure you have a good conversation with your client when you get ready to list their property and ask them, do you need a place to go, or do you have a place to go? Because I can tell you that one of my clients, we mentioned about selling her house, then she made up her mind selling over the weekend. And next thing we know, she's under contract and she really wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
But
sometimes we've had some clients that had to consider an Airbnb or a short-term rental. In that instance, we actually got a short-term rental in there as well, kind of thing. So you just have to be ready for that. Probably one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest questions that we as brokers are getting hit with is how do I get my offers accepted? What can I do to get more of my offers accepted? And so we want to talk just briefly about, how do you get in good with listing agents? So I just kind of want to go over the list of things that really make a lot of sense. So first thing is that make sure that you are reading and reading more and then reading more again. Listing agents get a lot of calls. And if you want to frustrate a listing agent, call a listing agent about something that is already in the description, about a disclosure that's already included in the docs. Listing agents are getting wore out right now. Mm-hmm. And so when there's something already printed or already listed, and then I get a phone call asking quote unquote stupid questions, it makes me question the validity of this agent and how well prepared they are. So first thing, make sure you read.
Well, the instruction too, like Zillow seller, they have very specific showing instruction, as well as their offer. There has to go a certain email, and normally they'll do an auto response of, we'll get in touch with you, and they'll also tell you whether or not there's multiple offers and when is the deadline.
The second thing, reputation matters. For a lot of agents and a lot of realtors that sometimes question, should I be a realtor? Should I do this? Should I participate in realtor functions? Should I go to open houses? The answer is yes, because reputation really, really matters. I know that there are instances where our offers have gotten in and where we have considered the reputation of the agent who represents the client as to which one that we recommend to our clients to work with. And so if you are known as being a real pain in the neck, do you think that's really going to help you? It's not. Reputation matters.
And if you don't treat others with respect, I can tell you right now, your offer is probably not going to be considered unless your buyer unless the offer is just that attractive. Because I can tell you, a lot of agents sometimes will go in with a very clean contract and during inspection period, ask for everything under the sun. And that strategy doesn't work, just so you know, because a smart listing agent will take a backup offer and go to the backup.
And we are seeing a lot of backup offers right now that are getting accepted. Third thing is be creative. Be ready to look outside the normal scope of things. We in the past couple of months, some of the things that we've seen included on offers that got accepted, Ming herself happened to negotiate in a pig with on a recent contract, and I'm not even kidding.
It's a pot-bellied pig.
Okay, but still, I don't know how many of you have negotiated a pig on your contracts, but Ming has. We've seen where where our buyers have been willing to pay for different things for our sellers to do. We've had buyers pay for the moving expenses of the sellers in addition to the letting them stay for longer. We've seen where the buyers are letting the client stay for a month or two rent free. So be ready to be a little bit creative. Sometimes when you can just fix small problems, you be how impressed that really does
and
come.
also sometimes you speak with a listing agent. Of course, your industrial one's not going to matter, but for a private sale, if you can just talk to the listing agent and say, hey, is there a special need from your seller that we need to include in our contract? That is a good question to ask.
Yep. Next thing is make sure that you read your contracts, know your contracts. This is the queen of contracts sitting next to me right here. And I can tell you that knowing your contracts and fully understanding, take the GAR contract 2021 dissection that's coming up on Tuesday. Really, really know your contracts, because that's super important for what in how you submit your offers. Next up is leverage your lenders' relationships. If you've got a good, strong lender, make sure that you're leveraging that, and that you're talking about those lenders, and you're having the lenders speak to the listing agents, send the information over. Now, they can't disclose anything, personal, that kind of stuff, but lenders get paid the same as we do when at closing. And so if a lender has a good client that's going to close, they're going to let that be known. They're not going to disclose anything they shouldn't. Next on our list is be honest. And this one seems like kind of a given, but I can tell you that there's real power in honesty, kind of thing. And so, it's just not a matter of winning the offer and lying and being deceptive about that kind of stuff. You might succeed on the short term, but you're going to lose in the long run. And that's going to go back and hurt your reputation again. So we have to be really, really honest about what's going on. We've seen some folks that have been like, well, I'm sure we can get this changed over to a conventional, and I'm sure we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, where they're just not being honest about it, doing anything to win the contract, but then it all ends up falling apart anyway. So honesty is always the best policy.
And one thing that I did encounter with millennial, especially for first-time home buyer, when you try to explain too much information, you can give an overview, but when you try to explain too much information from the first consultation, they may be confused. So just reassure them that they can always ask a question, that they can always, you'll repeat whatever that you have said. Because I would tell you, I made a mistake, not a mistake, but I was trying to give them a very detailed overview, and then they kind of looked at me like, I understand all the stuff you just said, but we have no understanding what you mean. So, and that kind of reeled me back a little bit. And even though I was very honest up front with certain things, and like I told them, I'll repeat it again as we get to that point. So.
All right, but back to where the listing agents are and winning our bids and swinging them. Next thing, call the listing agents and be polite, be kind. We used to, how you present the offer in a lot of cases will really matter. We still see where buyer's agents send a one-line email, message sent, confirm receipt. And you may not have intended to send it coming across, but when all we get as a listing agent is offer sent, confirm receipt, fine, that kind of thing. Whereas a lot of times, we like to put a brief recap of what was in our offer, and expound on, we'd love to work with you, that kind of stuff. I mean, we definitely have to be careful. The same as with buyer love letters. We're not really recommending those either, because a lot of them violate fair housing. So we have to be a little bit careful on the presentation letters that we send over with the listing agents also. But how we do that is really, really important. You're going to win a lot more friends being kind and pleasant than you will. I mean, it used to be, if when it was a buyer's market, or even when it was a flat market, the buyer's agents really held all the cards. Well, guess what? The roles have reversed, and the listing agents are holding all the cards right now. You've got to be nice to them if you want to get anything forward. I'm just trying to tell you straight up how it is, kind of thing. So wrap up with, go back to the basics. Please make sure that your spelling is right. I know I'm not a grammar Nazi by any means, but when you're as a listing agent, you're having to weigh all these different factors, and I got someone that can't spell recourse or can't spell certain words, and you're like, okay, I'm not sure that this is going to be the brightest person on the world. So please, and it's not necessarily anything personal, but it's just another factor that people use to evaluate the offers.
Well, professional letters, when you're dealing with someone's lifetime investment, their legacy, and you present it that way. If you don't, it's going to come across as that, they're just throwing an offer and maybe not really committed.
Yep.
And always, always pick up your phone.
That's it. Now, they may not answer, but you still try. Leave a nice message. All right. So the U.S. needs 4 million homes right now to meet the demand from buyers.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So again, kind of reiterating where we were earlier, as far as what are we telling our sellers? Our buyers need 4 million homes. Okay. The housing market is 3.8 million homes short, and that's right now. And at the same time, we have the millennial home buying class that is the largest segment in housing that is getting bigger over the next 5 years. They're all moving in that first time buyer range. So it really is exactly what we need. As well, the U.S. housing, we had a 15-year spike in March kind of thing. So, buyer demand remains really, really solid. We're not looking at anything changing with that. So we got to be very careful what we're doing to prepare our clients. And I just see too many folks that are kind of sharing that we need to really be that we should be waiting. And my concern is that if you're encouraging your clients to wait, especially on the buy side, they're going to miss these mortgage rates, and the property values are going to continue to go up.
Can we just talk a little bit about builder real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the builders actually right now, they've went from the average of 7 to 8 on a normal market percent of share and purchases to up to about 20, 25 and above right now. So every one house out of 4 houses that are being purchased are new constructions. And, with that said, the material cost has increased astronomically.
Like 180%.
I mean, it's huge. So the builder are going back to all these buyers where they have contract within last couple of months and stating that, hey, we're giving you an opportunity to back out because our material has increased. There's no way we can make a profit based on this model in our previous agreement with you. So, have a conversation with your buyer about new construction and about what they're doing, and make sure your buyer has some leeway to, make that changes. Now, what happened if let's say builder, we actually have a case right now, a week prior closing increased the price by $40,000. Okay. So this is where, real estate agent, stay in your lane. This is where you recommend your client to get an attorney that can review the contract. Now, I can understand if a builder mentioned this early on contract, but a week before closing, after appraisal's been done, everything else, once again, I'm not an expert in this field, but our recommendation is for you to have your client consult an attorney to see if he can resolve this issue, because the builder may be in violation of UCC Act, which is a commercial fair trade practice. But once again, we're hoping that, but once again, the builder contract are very unique. Each one of them has a different language and verbiage. So it takes an attorney to review those contracts. And, obviously the builder feels like they have an opportunity to win. That's why they're forcing this thing on the agent and buyer's hand right now.
Well, and so many of the builder contracts, and first of all, every one of them is very individual. Very rarely are we seeing where a builder is using the GAR new construction contracts. Right. Most of them have written, especially all the big boys, they've written their own. And there is all the protections written in for the builders, very few for the buyers, which is why we really push for buyer representation on new construction. But that being said, the protections are built into the contracts for the builders much more so than they are for anyone else. So, unfortunately, the contracts are written where they can do this in a lot of cases. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not, but there's a difference between what's right and what's allowed by law. And so, I don't like it. We have seen that. We need to be preparing our clients that if you had a contract on a home 3, 4, or 5 months ago, we need to really be communicating with that on-site agent to really know exactly what's going on, because unfortunately, this is not the only case that we're seeing.
And on-site agent, understand, has no control. And also, as a builder, just remember, they're there to stay in business.
Yep.
So if the material truly has depending on the purchase price, has rise that much, nobody is going to try to sell product that go in net loss.
Yep.
So understand there's two-side story. And I know a lot of agent has preconceived notion that the builder is making 20% or more on each property. That may or may not be the case sometimes. So don't assume, because material has gone up tremendously. And that's why some builder are offering much lower commission rate as well.
One other new thing that we want to kind of bring everyone up to or make aware of is that we are now seeing escalation clauses built into some of the new construction contracts. Now, not all of them, but we are seeing where some of the new construction contracts, the builders have added in an escalation clause, so they can automatically raise the price if they can show that lumber prices are increasing. If you will actually, we'd like to share with you right here as well. This is how our, this is from the National Association of Home Builders, and this is how builders have dealt with recent increases in price, in lumber prices, kind of thing. And almost half, 47%, are going to be adding or have added price escalation clauses into their construction contracts. Another third of them are pre-ordering lumber to try and help save the costs on there, and then getting lumber price guarantees from their suppliers. That's really good for your big guys. So your smaller guys are having a really hard time with that. About 20% are delaying building or sales when costs spike. So we've even seen where a couple of the builders have stopped construction because they were going to lose money on the house.
And this is probably smaller time builders. And I actually have heard one that took all their inventory off the market and relisting them in May, simply because to make a price adjustments.
Yep. Yeah, we had one builder, the entire neighborhood, all their pre-sale contracts, they canceled every one of them, turned around, relisted them all for $40,000 to $50,000 more, and put them all back on the market, and gave those those buyers the potential to rebuy under the new prices or to go find a different house. They give all the earnest money back, that kind of stuff. But we can see that this is really an issue that is continuing to put a lot of pressure on both on our builders as well as on our buyers right now. And it's not linear. This is not an easy answer, because the builders really do have issues with lumber costs, issues with labor, and even just the availability of some products we're still about 16 weeks to get windows in, things like that. So on the other hand, for our buyers, this is a tough time as well. So we have to show a lot of empathy, what's going on with that as well. So this past week, CentralLock announced that it's rolling out a new showing platform, but that's only for like MLSs that currently use CentralLock. We don't use CentralLock here, but the good news is that in the third quarter of this year, they're going to be rolling out a showing management standalone product, which will be a direct comparison to Showing Time and is very similar to Showing Time. Here's the difference. CentralLock's owned by NAR, by the National Association of Realtors, and Showing Time is now owned by Zillow. So do you want your information to be possibly shared out by Zillow or possibly owned by the National Association of Realtors? I would rather have it owned by the realtors personally, but again, I just wanted you to know that is kind of coming down the pike, kind of thing. So you may see in the news that there's some push in Congress for a first-time home buyers bill, and some of it is really legit. But I just kind of wanted to throw out there that my biggest concern originally when seeing this was, okay, the market is already on fire. How about we throw some gasoline on that? And it just seemed like it was just a really, really tough to kind of add more demand on top of a market that already has amazing demand. And really what it looks like is that a lot of this, and let me back up here. So kind of thing, first thing is that borrowers who make no more than 100 to 120% of the area median income would qualify. And this is gonna apply for, there's so many limitations on here, kind of thing. So to qualify, neither of the borrower's parents may have owned a home. This is a first-time buyer, so they couldn't have owned a home in 3 years, and their parents couldn't have owned a home, kind of thing, or else they won't qualify, kind of thing.
Anytime with government, a down payment assistance or anything, there's a lot of string attached. So the lender are trying when it first came out, there was not a whole lot of contingency or restriction. Now looks like they put a lot of contingency and restriction on the product. So
it hasn't passed. This has only been through the House so far. I do think that there's a good chance that at some point that some version of this is coming forward. One thing that's different from this and in the past years, because originally, Bush put one out there, Bush 2 put one out there, and it was done again with Obama. But in both those, it was a tax credit. This will be able to be used at closing, which is a big difference here. But it's going to be based on population, median area, racial disparities, kind of thing. That you have to prove that you're in a group that's been subjected to racial or ethnic prejudice in order to receive an additional $5,000. The targeting of this bill is so really specific that according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, this is going to end up being a very small market because no legislation is perfect. So I do believe this is going to get a lot more attention than it will necessarily make a huge impact, at least not the way it's written right now. So we'll stay on top of that.
The restriction is too many to be effective right now.
Yep. All right. So Ming, this one is much more up your alley. Ming's got the degree in accounting. And so, they have extended the tax filing deadline.
May 15th.
So, but there are two things, and one of the reasons we wanted to bring this up is, we've had so many millennial home buyers, and a lot of them, and we are seeing where millennial home buyers are still doing the 1040 EZ. And it's amazing, probably the two biggest areas where we can offer some guidance and some help is in tax tip. Now, when I say guidance, I don't mean, we're not tax professionals. We're not trying to be tax professionals. Even Ming, who has a degree in accounting, does very little tax.
Right, and tax changes every year.
Right, but probably the two biggies when it comes to home ownership is first thing you want to do is grab Form 1098, and that's the mortgage interest statement. It's sort of like your home's W-2. And so the first thing is that mortgage interest, probably the biggest deduction for all homeowners is that the mortgage interest on their home loan, 100% of your mortgage interest up to $500,000 can be deducted. In addition, the second biggest deduction is property taxes. You can deduct up to $10,000 of your property taxes from your regular taxes. So, these are two really huge benefits that a lot of times we're seeing, especially with our millennial buyers. There's still so many millennial buyers that are still filing that 1040 EZ. And is that hurting them, Ming?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. More than a little bit.
Actually, it depends, because if you have a lot of deduction and legally write-offs, then it'll be beneficial for you to do 1040. But if this is the only thing you have and your deduction doesn't outweigh the standard deduction, then this might, 1040 EZ may still be a better product for you.
Right. All right. We have gotten some, I'm going to go ahead and share this out here again. And so we have, right now our housing providers are struggling under the eviction moratorium. Over half of all landlords are small local landlords. These are not the big people, and they're getting hurt really, really bad right now. At the same time, we know that with coronavirus, that the renters have also been hurt really, really bad. And so, what can we do? Well, the challenge is that, Congress has issued out billions of coronavirus aid, but it's really, really slow to reach both the renters and the landlords. The coronavirus aid is out there in a lot of cases, and no one's getting out there to it. The aid is paid, directly to the landlords on the behalf of the renters. And so at the end of the day, these renters are going to get left with big bills as well as the landlords, and there is money out there. The challenge has been, how do you find it? And so we went out and we dug up, where can you get help in Georgia? And then specifically, so in Georgia overall, dca.ga.gov is probably one of the best places to go for affordable rental housing relief. In Atlanta, we have, Atlanta COVID-19 emergency release housing, City of Atlanta release housing, eviction relief fund. And then on here listed, I'll share this, or I'll attach this, or you can just shoot me an email if you want to see more specifics about that. If you have landlords, or you have,
or if you're
rental friends with rental issues.
Now, what if you're the landlord? Can you do the same thing?
Well, in some cases, the landlords can apply on behalf of the tenants. Not in every one, but on some that they can. They're going to need the tenants to agree. But I don't know which tenant would say, "Nah, I don't want.
I don't want to get my debt written off."
I'd like to make sure that you don't pay your bills and that you kick me out as soon as the moratoriums are over. Because at some point the moratoriums are going to end, kind of thing. So again, I want to be very careful in trying to care for our friends that are hurting. We know that a lot of our landlord friends are hurting, and we also know that a lot of renters are still having a challenge. And so there's relief out there, but so many people don't know where to find it. It really is out there. And so now I want to kind of, we got two things to wrap up. One is, if you are needing social content, please consider starting to share out on social media, that kind of stuff. National Day calendar. Like this Friday is National Hairball Awareness Day, which is pretty unique. And you can see like these are just over the next 3 days, some of the really fun things, kind of thing. So like April 28th, that's National Superheroes Day and National Blueberry Pie Day. The 29th is National Shrimp Scampi Day, which sounds really good. And again, on Friday, we have National Hairball Awareness Day. But these are great, cool things to draw some attention to social media. You can share these out. They're very easy to do. And a lot of times we're just looking for content and to be able to share those kind of things out. So let me stop sharing here real quick. Yeah, well, you moved my stuff around. So
I moved his stuff, so he's having a hard time finding it. So there we go.
All right, and now we did kind of want to introduce you guys really quickly
to Sharon.
To Miss Sharon. Miss Sharon, are you there?
Miss Sharon Mason, who is with Silverturn Mortgage. And, some of the questions that we had about lenders will be great for you guys to ask her. You gotta.
Well, I'm with you.
Here, can I see it? Yes, we're trying to switch the controls.
So hopefully you can get in there, Miss Sharon. Are you there?
I'm here.
All right.
There we go.
Here.
Sorry about the challenges with
Zoom is a lovely thing sometimes.
And it's also there we go.
How you guys doing?
We're doing great, Miss Sharon.
Awesome.
So, I'm sure you heard most of our segment because I saw you online and listening to it.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
From a lender standpoint, what with Silverton, and what are y'all? Have y'all gotten any feedback in reference to the assistance from the government at this point?
Not a whole lot. I've gotten a few text messages very recently in the last couple of days about it. So I know that it's out there in the atmosphere and people are starting to talk about it. in anticipation of, whenever it might get rolled out. So I'm
Okay.
sure there's going to be a lot more information to come, but it definitely piqued my interest, especially since I do my fair share of down payment assistance
Yeah.
programs for my buyers.
There you go.
That's one thing I do pride myself on. I've helped a ton of first-time home buyers get into homes using various down payment assistance programs from different counties and stuff like that.
Now, are you also educating your first-time home buyer to ensure that they're not asking for a whole lot due to tight inventory, as well, kind of coach them not to, with the down payment, you don't have to worry about, your down payment, but at the same time, don't ask for a whole lot of thing because inventory is so tight, it's going to put them at a disadvantage.
You're absolutely correct. And I do counsel my first-time buyers, as well as my agents that I work with, that there are certain programs that don't add any lead time to get a loan closed. And those are the programs that are kind of my favorites right now because it doesn't require a second underwrite. I don't have to send the file out. The time frame is basically the time it takes for me to process that loan at Silverton Mortgage and not one day longer. So those are the programs that I am pushing.
I can see that.
Which I have in Cobb County and DeKalb County. And I really love those programs because they're just so simple to do. All the heavy lifting is done on the back end, post-close.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so that's a real nice change for down payment assistance. We don't see that a lot. So I'm really pushing those two programs.
Now, what is your mortgage ball? I mean, your magic mortgage balls say as far as where are rates going? Because we think they're going to be closer to the mid threes as the year moves forward. I mean, what are your feelings?
Well, I think that they're probably going to stay in the threes this year.
Yeah.
We definitely saw an increase from late 2020 up until now, going from the twos to now being in the threes. But of course, the rates are still historically low.
Oh, yeah.
And getting in at 3% or 3.25%, which is where I'm pretty much locking people right now, that's a phenomenal rate. And if we can keep it there, I think for the rest of the year, I'll be happy. I'll be happy, Kate.
Great. All right.
Well, was there anything else you would like to add on?
Sure. I would love to say that we are a one-stop shop at Silverton Mortgage. We have all the products there that anyone would want to use: FHA, VA, conventional, Fannie, Freddie, USDA, jumbos. We have it all at Silverton. We have your down payment assistance for your first-time home buyers. And one thing I would like to say is that we have speed. We are getting our files in and out. I am really trying to help my buyers beat out the next guy for that contract by, committing to close their loan in 21 days. This is what I've been doing lately. That file goes in. Sometimes I'm getting my approvals back same day. Send it up in the morning. Awesome. Approval comes back out in the evening. And, making sure that we stay on task as far as appraisal dates, contingencies, and all of that. Just really having my team just stay on top of everything, ordering the title immediately, ordering that appraisal immediately, getting that insurance agent in the mix so that we can get that insurance policy taken care of. So we do it well at Silverton with speed and accuracy, and we have the products to back us up and the team indoors to make things run really smoothly. So I'm excited about the relationship that we're having with Maximum One, and I'm looking forward to doing great things.
Absolutely. And I know we're getting ready to do some events and in person. So we're looking forward to meet you in person as well.
Absolutely.
And if you want, before we wrap up, can you tell us your telephone number and repeat it twice, please?
Absolutely. My telephone number is 404-218-1422. Again, that number, 404-218-1422. You can look me up, you can Google me, and you'll find out all about me. I'm a 20-year veteran, and I love what I do.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much.
We sure appreciate you joining us today. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Sounds great. All right. Well, we are, that's about all we have for today.
And thank
So,
y'all so much.
Thanks for joining us. We sure appreciate you. If we can be of any kind of service, please let us know. Call, text, smoke signals. We answer it all. And if you need us personally for anything else, we're always online. You can find us at Max One. Sorry,
Yeah, he forgot his slide.
I did. Max1.rocks/chat. So if you want to
have some me time with
have
us
some me
and have some
time.
questions.
So you can go to
right now.
max1.rocks/chat, and we're here for you if there's anything we can help with.
Shortly after this.
You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Thank
All right,
you.
take care. Bye.